Welcome back to Las Vegas. It's Alex Belfield talking to the stars of the Strip, and it's always nice to find a restaurant that's warm and friendly and authentic, with a top man running it as well. Patrick Littlejohn, how are you?
Very good, thanks, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. We're here at Il Mulino, and what a restaurant this is, because you've got it right, haven't you? You've got the service, you've got the food, you've got the ambiance, you've got everything. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you for your comments. It's been 6 years in Vegas at the Caesars Forum Shops, and it's been doing very well.
Interesting accent you've got there. Half American, half English.
Well, let's say half Scottish, shall we? Yes, an expat who's been out in America for quite a few years now, 12, 13 years. It's definitely different to find a Scotsman running an Italian restaurant, that's for sure.
Can we find out a bit about your story? Because we've had a wonderful lunch together, and I've heard so much about you. I don't know how much you want to tell us, but what a life you've led.
Yes, I've had great experiences. Left the UK when I was 24 and went to work in the Middle East in Jordan, and was lucky enough to land a job working for King Hussein and Queen Noor, running their food and beverage aspects of the palaces there.
What a life. I mean, you must have travelled first class, private jets, and then you suddenly arrive in Vegas to launch this restaurant. This wasn't the first, though. You went via the East Coast.
Yeah, so when I left Jordan, I went to work in America and then landed in New York. Started at the Plaza Hotel, famous old plaza, and then joined up with the owner of Il Mulino, who has it now, and we opened up 12 restaurants now since he bought it and created the Il Mulino empire. We started on the East Coast in Long Island. The original Il Mulino is in New York. It's a mainstay there for 29 years. Zagat rated the #1 Italian restaurant. And then we moved out to Las Vegas, and I came out here to run this one.
You've got so many little touches throughout the meal. I mean, you walk in and firstly the smell is wonderful. Why is it so many people struggle to put a good restaurant together and make it successful?
I think they try too hard. To make a good restaurant is keep it simple, keep it authentic, and keep the product to the highest specs you can, and to have a warm, friendly staff, not overbearing. The simple service is the best service, and what a lot of places lack is actually they don't do any service, and you notice that in a lot of the places you go.
Patrick, here at Il Mulino you've got great food that I know is sourced around the world. That's part of the unique nature of this restaurant. That doesn't come cheap, does it? How difficult is it to get every piece to put this whole package together?
It's very difficult, especially when you come up against volcanoes that suddenly erupt, that have just happened. And we have a very high spec. Our cheese is flown in from Italy. Our buffalo mozzarella is flown in from Italy. We do have some European items, like the Dover sole comes from England, Holland, where it's coming from. The Mediterranean striped bass that we have is flown in. All the specs are very high, and we search around the globe to get them and make sure they're here. So that doesn't come cheap, but we don't pass it on to the customer. We absorb it into our style of our restaurant, and which sets ourselves up against the rest, where people don't do that. They source things locally, or it's a cheaper product they're giving you.
Such an interesting life you've had. I mean, you start in the Highlands of Scotland, you go via royalty, you end up in Las Vegas. When you were a kid, were you always different? Did you always think that you'd live an extraordinary life?
Funnily enough, I never fitted into the village I grew up in. I just knew that I had something else where I was going to end up in. I grew up on a farm working with my dad. He didn't want that for me. Maybe that was part of the reason. He never encouraged me to come down and milk the cows, although I did. That was every Saturday. And I just knew that, even then, you said about my accent, Alex. I've never had a strong Scottish accent from where I grew up in. And it was always different. So I guess I always knew I would never live back in the UK, or I would definitely be traveling the world until I found where I wanted to be.
Every great Italian restaurant has to have a face at the front of the restaurant, and you're here 5 days a week. Do you think that makes a difference, that they know who you are and that they're coming back to meet you every time?
It's key. One of the key things that make Il Mulino different again, there's very little turnover in my staff here. The kitchen is the same kitchen brigade that we started with. The front of house, myself and Alicia, and the team that we have here. We have captains and waiters that create the whole atmosphere, and it's a joint effort. It's not just me at the door. It doesn't stop because I'm not there, or anybody else. But it is a great aspect when customers come back, because you don't come to Vegas every week. You come to Vegas once a year, maybe twice a year. When you get to see the same person, that's a nice thing, to smile on people's faces, to remember little things about them. And like I said, if someone has a particular table they're at one year, I'll try and give them the same table next year, and they remember it. So.
One nice thing about the restaurant is the fact that you cook in front of us. Why do you feel the need to do that?
Well, it's twofold. One, it is part of the little show that goes on in the restaurant. Two, it eases pressure on the kitchen because the product, the pastas are all finished in the main room on the Garridons. And it's interactive. The smell that's given off from cooking, and the waiters are doing something. They're finishing your dinner, whether deboning the fish or creating the Caesar salad, or deboning, like I said, the branzino, which we can do at the side of the table. But it really is another aspect of Il Mulino. It's different.
I've always felt like a good restaurant's like a theatre production where everybody knows their part, they know where they should be at a specific point, and the whole thing has to be almost orchestrated together. There are a lot of similarities, aren't there?
Very much so. We're on our stage, and that's what I like to say. You come to work and you put your stage face on and put your tuxedo on, and you are then in front of your audience, and everyone knows their lines, and that's all part of your show that night. Coming to Vegas to get your experience.
Are you here for good?
Definitely here for a while. I think maybe my next goal is to have my own place of some sorts. And that'll be eventually. But right now, very happy where we are in Vegas, and we'll be here for quite a few years, I think, to come.
It must be almost freaky sometimes when you look out the window and think, how did I make it here? It's such a testament to your character, isn't it, that you're at one of the world's most famous casinos ever.
You don't really appreciate it until you actually are told that or asked that. And yes, it's quite inspiring to look out onto we've got a beautiful patio here that looks down the strip, and you're looking towards the Venetian and the Wynn and the Stratosphere of Vegas and the Caesar sign outside, and you go, yeah, did okay.
Do you have a minibus at home so that you can pick all these people up from the airport when they come to visit every week?
Yeah, there's a lot of friends that want to come to Vegas, so you've got to put them on a tight leash and plan your life around them as well. So, but anybody who wants to come is more than welcome.
You were telling me over lunch that you just bought a new house. This really is the place to buy right now, because they had a time when everybody was moving here and they were charging ridiculous prices for houses. Now you can pick them up for nothing.
Yeah, anyone who wants to come from the UK, if you got the good rate going on, you can definitely get a lovely mansion with a pool and the palm trees. So come and help the economy.
Put my name down now. I've loved this. It's called Il Mulino, and it's just a beautiful restaurant with great service and just tremendous authentic food. Thank you for having me here. Patrick Littlejohn is the manager, and he'll see you at the front desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Anytime. Thank you.